Danny General was the High Commissioner for the Okinawan people. And after we had left, the Americans turned it over to the Japanese. So today it is Okinawa, Japan. We had a typhoons there, and when they would get close, we'd close the post office and go home. And we had a Volkswagen bus. And after the typhoon was over, we went out to the bus, and one whole side of it had been stripped. It was a total different color than the rest of the bed because of the typhoon. See, at the widest point, the island was 3 miles wide. So when the typhoon came in, it brought sand off of the beaches, and it hit that van and just took the paint right off of that side where the typhoon hit. Okay, where do we go next?
Fort Meade.
Fort Meade, Maryland. We went there from Okinawa, and they didn't have a job for me. So I went out looking for a job, and I went to the chapel, and they was gonna need a chapel administrator. And because the old one was leaving in 2 weeks. So I said, yeah, I'd like to have that job. And so anyway, since I was out of my occupational specialty, well, they didn't keep me there very long. And we got orders to, where was that next place?
South Korea. Seoul.
Okay. Got orders for South Korea. Well, I could have gotten out of it because we hadn't been back very long. But I figured if I got out of that, I'd go to war in Vietnam. So I went ahead and went to Korea. So it was my second tour in Korea, and these are 13-month tours. Now on that second time, we had a little bit of money, and we were able to, for me to fly home midway through my tour. So after 6 months, well, I flew back home for 2 weeks, and then back to Korea. But it was a good assignment. I found this place that sold old clocks, and they had a room about half the size of this, and they had clocks just lined up the walls, and I would get a taxi and go there, and I would pick out usually 12 clocks, and I just sit there in the middle of it, and I would take that one, that one, that one. And then the owner of the clock shop and the taxi driver would bottle them up in things of 6 and load them in the taxi, and then I would ship them back home. I'd ship the best ones to your grandma, and the others I sent to a auction house just outside of St. Louis, Missouri. And I had, after postage and everything, I had about $5 a piece in the clocks. And at the auction house, they would give me $40 to $50 a piece for each clock. So, you know, there's a little extra money there. So where do we go after that?
Fort Hamilton, New York.
What?
Fort Hamilton.
Fort Hamilton, New York. Wasn't too pleased with New York. We only went downtown New York City one time, and Grandma found an antique while we were there. Not me, but she did. She found an antique, and but after I don't know, 6 or 8 months, we decided we wanted to move on. So I put in a request to move anywhere in the world with my family to get somewhere besides Fort Hamilton, New York. And, you know, there again, everybody thought I'd really get a bad assignment. It came back. Munich, Germany, right?
Yep.
Best assignment anybody could ever get.
Is that
We-
where my dad was?
The family went right with me on the airplane. When we landed, well, somebody, the first sergeant of the post office, come and picked us up and took us right to our quarters. And, Joe played ball there. Lisa got into my silver dimes. They were worth about 40 or 50 cents then. And, she got into them and took all of her friends to a carnival. That was the last time she got her butt spanked. But anyway, that was a great tour. Except during that time, my dad died. And I had to go home on emergency leave. I actually went before he died and spent time with him. And then when he died, well, naturally I couldn't go back again that soon. It was only about a month later. But when I got back, well, I put in to curtail my tour because I was on an extension. And it come back, no, we can't do that. So anyway, I put in a complaint, and they come back and said, yeah, they should have released you. And where would you like to go in the States? I said, you know, I'd like to go to the postal school at Fort Bend Harrison, Indiana.
That's what's next.
So that's where I went, Fort Bend Harrison. And there I was instructor at postal school. And we found this, we had a house in Annapolis. And we came down to Franklin to a discount fabric store. And on the way back, we was going up North Main Street, and we saw this big old house for sale at Martin Place. And so we called, and you know, we still had this house in Arkansas that we had bought when I went overseas. We had it rented out. So we bought that house for $36,000 and lived there for a long time. And then we had to go back overseas again. It was our last tour. Hanau, Germany. Joe didn't get his diploma from there. He still lacked a year in school, but he did get his classroom. And he just enjoyed Hanau so much. And since then, he has taken Rhonda back to the places that he was at to put his sign. Now, your dad was born when we were in Hanau. He was born in the Franklin Hospital. He could have had dual citizenship, been German or American, and we chose American. You know, we didn't do the double. We should have, but in that case, he could have never been president of the U.S. This way, he could be president because that was considered the U.S. An army base. If you were on an army base, it was considered the U.S. So anyway, that was our last assignment.
Okay, all those places.
No, we hadn't done a thing. We just went through every one of them.
Oh,
You do. You legitimately do.
oh, I didn't know.
So you can see that
Let me phone back.
we had a fun 22
Stop.
years
Stop. Go. What are you doing?
military.
Which was your favorite place?
Huh?
All done? All done?
Really?
Sit down and ask your question.
France, I think would have been the next neighbor.
Sit down.
In France,
Get the scissors.
Lisa was 4, and, you could start the school there at 4 years old. And said she spoke good French, because she played with the neighbors all the time, and she picked up the language. Well, she started, her first year of school was at a French school.
How old was Joe when my dad was born?
Huh,
How old was Joe
Oh,
when my dad
oh,
was born?
16.
Sorry. I was not trying to get your toes.
Yeah, your dad was born in Hanow, but then
Oops.
we, came back to that same gig
I did not know those said that.
on Mark's place. And, he had one of these, what is it, 3-wheel,
Bicycle.
it was a tricycle. What was it, Jason?
Big wheel.
Big wheel. Big wheel on the front, little wheels on the back. Well, he would go down that sidewalk just as fast as he could go. And the cars just knew he was gonna come out in front of them. And he'd get there and boy, he'd turn that wheel and slide around and but I got a job after I retired from the Army post office, so I had a job at the, well, at Beach Grove post office first, and then I transferred into Franklin.
What's your toes?
Grandpa, do you still have any old clocks from the clock store?
No. No, I think Joe has,
But yeah, Joey has one. He has a Joan of Arc.
uh-huh, and we bought it in France.
Yep.
But we would, in England, we would go to shops and we buy these real fancy brass, heavy clocks. They'd be this big. We'd take them home and they were dirty, grimy, and we would cook them. And we'd boil them and all the old lacquer and stuff would come off and they looked brand new. But they were hundreds of years old.
Stand over there. Stand over there like that.
Oh,
But we went, did he tell you we went to Rome? Rome is very disappointing. It's filthy, filthy. The streets are filthy, and the Colosseum, cats everywhere. Cats.
It's fun. This looks fun.
but
Yeah.
cats everywhere, but no mice.
Yeah, lots of cats. And then we went in the catacombs, and that's where they used to bury people in Jesus' day. And you would see where they had you laid on beds, one on top of course there was nobody there.
Skeleton.
There was skeletons. So, and we went to a cathedral, I think it was St. Peter, and there was a box and relics from one of the saints was in there. I think it was Paul. I'm not sure. But, and we went to Venice. That's where you got on the gondola and went up the canal. But the canals are no wider than this room. No wider. And but the guy would sing and stand up. And we went all up and down. And in the place, the main place, it's called St. Mark's Square. Pigeons, because they feed the pigeons.
Now, we were on vacation then from Germany, and we had gone to Italy, and when we got, our first stop in Italy, well, we were going to a base to get supplies and go to the bathroom and things. Well, anyway, your grandma had on these real nice slacks. Nope,
You had had to dress up.
She's gotta go in there and change into a dress.
'Cause they
Slacks
didn't-
not allowed on this base.
Yeah, had to change before they got us on the base. So,
And then on the way back, we're getting ready to leave Italy now. And we're taking the mountain to go into France. And on the way, you can look over there and see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And, you know, that's really a spot that everybody wanted to see. Well, I told them, I said, look, there's the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and that's
it
as
was
close as you're
all the
gonna get.
way. We could see it was leaning, but he didn't wanna go up to it, he's ready to go home.
I was ready to go home, and that's where we were headed. But then on the way, like I said, we were on the mountains, and you had little narrow roads.
And with no rails, no rails.
Oh no, and part of the time, this side of the road was caved in. So you only had one lane that you could drive on, and you better not meet a car.
And I had to help him because I had to put my head out the window to tell
see
him
how
how
close
far to
we
get
were.
over.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
And then we were running on Nictium gas. This is midnight. There's this town, and it looks like you could put your car on the train and going into France. 'Cause I'm telling you, we're running on empty.
Mhm.
And so we get there in that little town, and the train had been declared unsafe and didn't run
So
anymore.
we had to backtrack all on that road again. The same road we had come. But also, when we pulled into this town, we were on empty. We saw a petrol, that's what they call the gasoline station. And they take in their hose at night. They don't leave their gas hoses out. They take them in. So we pulled up and we parked right there and slept until they opened.
Till
the
7
next
o'clock in the morning when they
And then we
opened
got
up.
gas. So that was lots of fun things, but like you have fun stories for when you went to Maine, when you went to all those parks out west. You had lots of things. You've seen different things than we've seen. But that's one reason I like Amazing Race. They go to a lot of the countries that we've been to. And we can, you know, like in Paris, we'll say, well, we stood right there, right there where they are.
We used to go to Paris. We didn't have much money, but the gas was cheap because we got it on base.
And we had coupons.
Uh-huh.
You didn't use money, you used coupons.
And we would go to Paris, and we'd get a ham sandwich. I don't know.
French bread,
Yeah,
French
and,
bread.
I would probably get coffee and her a Coke. Or they
And what
probably
would go
get
on the
but-
sandwich?
Huh?
Butter.
Butter, exactly.
The what?
Butter.
Oh, yeah.
And their drinks. Anytime you get a Coke or a Pepsi, not Dr. Pepper, you didn't get Dr. Pepper.
No.
But anyway, anytime you got it, it was hot. They don't like ice. They would bring it to you just in a glass, but it would be hot. And we'd have to ask for ice. And that was weird. Yeah, it was weird.
Okay, well now why don't you go through the cities again and ask Grandma to tell her side of it,
Can I go through them?
because we heard Grandpa's side.
No, except you can mess up other ones if you want.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Fort Leonardo.
Fort Leonard, what,
That
Missouri?
was great. That's where he had basic training, and I drove there to see him a couple of times. And my dad, this is what my dad did. I was a new driver. I'd not been driving any time. And I'm going to this, it was close to St. Louis. So I told him I needed to know how to change the flat tire. So my dad wrote out these instructions and he said, open the trunk. He wrote every detail of what we should do if we had to change it. So, and so anyway, we went, and on the way back, I decided I had to drink coffee, and I hate coffee. I don't like coffee, but I was sleepy. So I drank coffee, couldn't drink it. And always somebody went with me. My sister went with me, our cousin went with me, you know, things like that. There wasn't a lot there, because it was a quick weekend. We had to leave after so many hours. But the key thing, you always dressed up. It wasn't, you wouldn't wear jeans, you dressed up. Okay, the second one at Aberdeen, that's where Lisa was born. And Dee's mother, that's where she was born. And we lived in these little dinky quarters, and I used a razor blade to scrape the floor to get it clean.
What?
A
Razor blade.
Cause the floor was old linoleum, and it wasn't clean, and I took me a week. But anyway, and we were only there a short time, and then when we had to go to Korea, so we went to Arkansas. Yeah, you went to
We shall move.
and then I moved to Arkansas, and then we went to Fort Valley. That's where Joey was born. And that's where every time we went anywhere, we saw buffalo, because they had wild buffalo. And I mean, they were in a fence, but anytime we went on base, we saw the buffalo. And that's when President Kennedy was killed, and we had just moved there, and our TV wasn't working, our TV was this big. And so in Kansas, the wind blows all the time real bad, and he had to get out and put up the antenna, because he had to have an antenna, so we could watch the Kennedy thing. So that was, the most important thing about Kansas. First, he was gonna be sent to Vietnam. We got an order. Well, first we got orders for France. Then he got orders for Vietnam. And I kept calling my mother. And I would say, we're going to France. No, he's going to Vietnam. And it was crying, and every day it changed.
Just went back and forth.
And so finally they said we were going to France, and he said, well, cut our orders, and we left. And on the way in France, our first, when you go overseas, they send a higher rank person to pick you up at the Paris airport. So this guy came and what does Joey do in this guy's new car? He goes,
He was my first sergeant.
They came to pick us up. And so we get to the hotel. Now the French hotels are not like our hotels. The sheets are real scratchy. And we had to walk up 4 flights. I've got high heels on. We got Lisa to feed, we got our luggage, and we got Joey who weighs 100 pounds.
Joe was a fat little
He
baby.
was a fat baby. And we're going up these stairs. So we get up to this room, and it didn't have a bathroom. Our bathrooms were not in the room at this time. So he is looking for the bathroom. He is just desperate for a bathroom. So goes down to the woman.
Well,
and-
it had a bidet in the room, didn't it?
Yeah, but that's one of those things, you don't do anything but wash your bottoms, that's all you do. Okay, well, anyway, so he went and found out where the bathroom was, and the reason we couldn't find it, it was right there. It was called a water closet,
Wasser closet.
and we didn't know that. So, he is, after that ordeal, he's gonna send me back home. We can't do this, and we just cannot do this, this is too hard. I said, you are not sending me back home, we are staying here. And that's what we did. But can you imagine, I mean, there was a bathroom right outside the door, but we didn't know it, that's because we didn't speak French.
And this person that we stayed in their house, he actually just lived down the road from me at Bard when I was a kid.
And they were leaving.
And he's still on my Facebook today.
They were leaving, and so they lived with us 2 weeks, and we lived with them 2 weeks, and then took over the house.
Because
That's
you
the
could draw,
house. Actually, show them that picture on the fridge of Joey with the French bread.
you could,
That's the house.
by staying in the hotel, you could draw hotel money.
Okay, see, where Joey's walking, that's a hallway. And one door over here went to the bedroom, this door over here went to the living room. And then you kept going, you went to the bathroom, and another bedroom and a kitchen. But our landlady lived upstairs. And she came through that hallway when she came and went. So she was always there. Joey, I would, over there you got French bread every day because it would get hard. And I would throw it away in the trash and Joey would get it out of the trash and go around chewing on it.
You never had to worry about him getting in trouble or anything, as long as he had that loaf of French bread.
And then we've got a picture of him in the bedroom in this house. We had one of those expanding gates, and his legs are through the expanding. And there's his Sears catalog, just in shreds. In shreds. Now he is probably, oh no, he's not our age. He's
No,
real little. He's walking, but he's little. And Joey did not talk for 2.5 years in France. And the reason he didn't talk, our daughter Lisa and I played with the kids. We lived with the French people, and she could speak French. And so Joey would hear English and French, and he just didn't talk. When he left there, went to England, he started talking. It was so funny. It was just, I think he was confused. At least would translate for us, because we didn't know French. But she went to school with the French kids, and she could translate. Oh, and one other funny thing, talking about clocks. A Joan of Arc clock. It went ding, ding. Well, one day it started ding. He came home, it was out in the middle of the yard. It wouldn't shut up. So I took the whole clock and he said, why is the clock out in the yard? I said, well, it's driving me crazy. It wouldn't shut up. And that's the clock Joey has. So, okay, what was next?
Can you not read it?
Okay, we weren't in England hardly any time, but we did go, we were there 6 months. We had church in our house, in our next door neighbor's house, because there was not a church, except the Church of England. And we went to this think that is? What's a rag and what?
Someone who makes mummies.
And eggs,
Money.
Mummies.
mummies. Oh, rag and, well, that's, yeah. Okay, no, it's a trash picker. It's somebody who goes around and gets things out of the trash and sells them. So we went to his house,
Shop.
his shop.
Yeah, he had a little shop.
He had a shop, and we bought those dogs in the living room. And we paid, £1, $2.97. And he also gave Lisa a cruet set for a nickel.
Nickel, sold it to
She
her.
sold it for her for a nickel. And later, we sold that for $100. Okay. So how much of this has he said?
All of it.
All of it.
No, but I meant, how
Oh,
much
well.
of what?
Basically, but it's different.
Okay. Okay, then we went to Okinawa. Now, Okinawa, it took 17 hours on the plane. And I had 2 kids. He was already there. And what I did, I took presents and wrapped presents. And I would give Lisa and Jody ever so often a present. And they would open it. And then halfway on the flight, I got sick. And the stewardess came and I told her I was sick. And she said, well, that's too bad, you don't want your kids. And so then we stopped in Japan and had a layover. And then we get to, then we go on. And we get to Okinawa. And here I am exhausted and he's had some friends he and wanted us to come to their house
For dinner.
for dinner. And I didn't know want to go. I was hard. Well, we went to their house. But anyway, all the holidays in Okinawa we spent at the beach. Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, we spent at the beach. And we lived off East First, and then we moved to Home Base. And you were safer on base because your house was made of concrete. And not long after we moved on base, we hit a typhoon. And we watched the trees bend all the way to the ground. And we were in the house for 3 days. You couldn't leave because of the wind and rain. You couldn't leave. You weren't allowed to leave. And we had a Volkswagen, and it was parked in front of the house. After this typhoon, we went out to get in this Volkswagen. All the paint was gone from one side, the side that faced the wind. So then we had a red and green Volkswagen. So, but I mean, the wind was that hard that it blew the paint off.
You know, both of us missed something. Okinawa is where we had a Baptist church there, a Southern Baptist. And that's where I was ordained deacon in the Southern Baptist Church.
Yeah, we were very active in the church there. And we still have good friends from that time because we were there 2.5 years again.
Yeah, a little more.
And then we came back and we went to Fort Meade, Maryland, and we were there 6 months. And he got sent to Korea again. So I went to Arkansas. We bought a house. And then we went to New York. And we lived in New York 8 months. And you couldn't even go shopping in New York because it would take you 6 hours to get to where you're going because of traffic. So we go shopping.
When do you get your
Oh, we can go on Macy's. We can go on Macy's. We went to the
Or
comic.
you could go downtown Brooklyn.
Yeah, we could go to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
I'm
just couldn't go to
saying,
New York City.
we went to Macy's where they had the Thanksgiving parade. We went there and took Joey and Lisa to see Santa at Macy's. But that was one time because traffic was just horrible, horrible. And to go to church in New York, we had to pay a fee to go across the bridge and to get to the church.
Verrazano Narrows Bridge was right there by where we
And
lived.
we had,
And you had to go across that in order to get to Long Island City. That don't sound right. That's where I worked.
Anyway, so we weren't there long, and I sent out Christmas cards, and I said, "This is a great place to visit, but you don't want to live here." And to get to our apartment, you had to take an elevator. To get to the car, you had to take an elevator, and I was terrified of elevators
And the laundry room.
and the laundry room. So I had to get over my elevator. So, and Munich was wonderful. We saw so many pretty things there. And I managed a thrift shop there once a week. And there was no pay. There was no pay as volunteer. But I didn't drive, so I had to walk. And walk to Perlocker Forest. But anyway, we really liked Munich.
You want a coffee?
Uh,
No,
There's
I'll get it for you.
So then after Munich, we came to Fort Harrison. That's how we ended up in Indiana. It was in Fort Harrison.
Yep.
And he was teaching other people how to do postal. And we lived in close to the base. And we were there about a year, and we came during a blizzard. We came to Franklin, and we saw that big pink house. It wasn't pink, but anyway. And it was for sale, and we bought that house. And then we worked on that. And that's where he had part of his job. And that's how we've been in Indiana ever since. But now we did go to Hanow. Hanow is where your dad was born. They were gonna send him to Korea. And so they told him he could go to Korea or go to Germany. If he went to Germany, I could go. I couldn't go to Korea. So we chose Germany. And there again, we were there 2.5 years. And that's where he was born. And
You bought the house before you went back there?
oh yeah, we bought the house. Yes, we went over there.
We rented it
opened
out
the
while we
house.
were in Haddon.
And so.
And the people that rented the house bought the one next door.
Hmm.
The Beidlers.
Yes. And then we've been in Indiana ever since. And Indiana feels more like home to me than Arkansas. I don't know about him. He has lots of Arkansas memories, more so than I do. But,
I was telling them that I was a car hop. I don't think they understood what a car
oh,
hop
I
was.
was a car hop too, and I had to wear skates. Skates, that's where you would take the orders with skates. Can you imagine? I can't
Take them out to the car and hook the tray onto the window.
carrying all the drinks and the food. But now, I will say this, during all of those, I remember the first McDonald's. At Fort Valley, we went to McDonald's for the first time. All during this, didn't have a lot of money, but we had fun. And in fact, in Maryland, back then, Dr. Peppers were in bottles, like that bottle on the plaza. That's a Dr. Pepper bottle. And you had deposits. You had to turn them back in. You had to turn them back in.
But a lot of people
See,
threw them
10,
away.
2, and 4. Dr. Pepper. And at the end of the month, we went out looking for bottles.
In
Because we wanted
in
to go
road
to the
ditches,
Dairy
side
Queen.
ditches.
We wanted to go to the Dairy Queen, and it was 2 or 3 days before payday. But all that time, we only got paid once a month. And Willow, I would take a menu for the whole month. And I would go to the commissary the first of the month, and I'd get everything on that menu. And I would take a pound of bacon, and it would last 4 weeks.
Not very much bacon.
But you learn from all those experiences. There were good ones, there were bad ones. We had some good friends when we were in France. And we didn't have money to go a lot of places. And they lived in Heidelberg, and they sent us money to come see them. Because they were Department of Defense people, and they had lots of money. So they sent us money, and we went to see them. And we had missionaries in France. We had missionaries stay with us. They were training in Paris, in France, because they were going to a French-speaking country. And they would preach at our church there, and then we would have them for dinner. So the funny thing
You're not
is,
supposed to tell that.
the funny thing is, right behind our house, we lived on the road to Le Mans, a big race. And right behind our house was a cornfield. So we got some corn and fed missionaries because French people don't like corn. It's for animals. So we would get peanut butter for these people because they couldn't get American things. They couldn't go to the commissary. And it was them and their little kids.
But they didn't realize we had stolen field corn to feed them. And we didn't tell them.
No, we didn't. I mean, it was right behind our house.
Maybe that's why they didn't like corn.
Well, no, it was, the missionaries liked corn, it was the French.
Oh, okay.
The French people didn't like corn. So, we had real good neighbors next door, and we would communicate with our hands. And we knew enough words. And she would watch our kids sometimes. But it wasn't, we would not have traded any of that because it was a great experience. Now, our parents, I like it because we were all very little. You know, we were not, well, we would come home for 30 days, every 2 or 3 years, you know. And so once we got to Indiana, we always went home on holidays, and you know, probably remember that. So we went to our parents, because we never got to do that when we were overseas.
And when you were in the States, when you got a vacation, you went to the parents. You went to Arkansas, or like for us anyway. When we were overseas, you didn't do that.
You went to different countries.
You went to different countries and things. But when you were in the States, it was known that you go home.
But also, we forgot an important part. In Munich, we went to, our church started late because the Germans had church first, and then we had church. And before church, we went to the flea market downtown Munich. And family into church. Because that was what it was, you know. And always we had stuff in our car after that, you know. So, but when you see Munich, you'll see this great big glockenspiel, and it's where all these people come out and it's singing, it's world famous. That's where the flea market was.
We was talking about all the clocks that we had bought over the years. Well, in the 70s and early 80s, CB radio was quite the interesting deal. Everybody had a CB radio.
And
my-
truckers still do. Truckers
Yeah.
still do.
My handle was the old TikTok.
Yeah, he always had a weird name,
Yeah.
and his was the old TikTok. And one time was that when Jason was little and we went to Washington, where you asked it was Richard, and Richard was on the highway, and he answered. It was strange.
Richard was Mary's husband, and he was a over-the-road truck driver.
So I don't remember what his name was.
The flying squirrel.
Oh, I'm squirrel. That's right. So that's it, and then we're here.
Yep.
After 29 houses, that's how many places we've got. 29. So it's nothing, like you told us we had to move next month. We know how to work, we know how to get it done. I know, Willa, don't roll your eyes.
You have a lot more stuff here than you probably did other places.
Yes, you're right about that. You're right.
But I'll tell you what, we enjoyed that army life. We really did.
But also to tell you, God has his hands in things. You know, I put us in the military at the very beginning. I don't even know if your dad knows this. We had a baby, and the baby did not live. He only lived 3 days. It was a boy, his name was Kevin, and he is married in Arkansas. Well, at that time, they put him on, they used to draft people. And so my aunt was the draft person for our county. And she told him he was gonna be drafted. If you had a child, you didn't have to go. But because our baby died, he was gonna be drafted. That's how he ended up in the military. He had no choice, he had to go. Now, he did not have to re-enlist. You know, after his 2 years, 3 years, he had to make a decision. We went back to Arkansas, to our hometown, and back to his job place. And they told him he'd be making the same thing he was making 3 years
$1.25 an hour.
before. And we got to figuring, even though we didn't get a lot of money, we had benefits, we had other benefits, we had health, we had, you know, other things. So he decided he better go back in the military. And that's, and from then on, he just re-enlisted when it was time. So, had that baby lived, our lives would have been totally different. We never would have left Arkansas. You know.
Now, I know none of you have temper, but I did have. I had temper. One time, I pulled my first sergeant over the
Oh, we
desk
don't wanna hear about this.
and threatened to kill him.
We don't wanna hear about
And
this.
he wrote up court-martial papers against me, which would have, she'd have had to go home and I'd had to go to prison. And, so the commanding officer called us both in, and he said, First Sergeant Latour, here's the court-martial papers you wrote up on Sergeant Cobb. And you could either take them and give them back to me, and we'll press charges. Or you can take them, and I'll put a trash can right there by your chair. You can throw them in that trash can, and we'll walk out of here like nothing's ever happened.
And this
Well,
was something to do with culture.
His face just lit up like a Christmas tree, you know, he was really upset. But he was married to an Oriental wife. And he had been on Okinawa for years and years, and he didn't want to leave. And he told him, he said, if you submit those papers, then you walk right on out of here and go to personnel and find you another job.
So
So he reluctantly threw those papers in the trash can. That was one of the luckier times in our life. From my temper.
But as a rule, he doesn't.
But, you know, he kept bugging me. I had all this money out on the desk. I was the NCO in charge of the postal financial operations.
All the money, people.
And this was on payday. And my clerks was getting ready to go out to their units. And so they was buying stamps and getting money orders from me. And, you know, you have all that money and money orders laying out on the desk, you don't just up and go up to see what sort of the tour was. So anyway,
That's what got the
That's-
whole thing
Badger
started.
Deer
So that's it,
got
enough
pushed
of the memories.
yeah,
But you should still, when you get out of school and you start doing things, it's gonna affect you the rest of your life. Don't realize it at that time. Just like Silas may be doing some things now, he's searching, he doesn't know what he wants. And he's
But
searching.
it's
And
building up, it's building right now.
But he's smart, he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. I have utmost confidence in him. So,
Children, ask Grandma some questions from what she talked about. Come sit down.
they're trying to do this.
Which was your favorite place to go to?
It's a toss-up between Orleans, France, because of Paris and Munich. I really like Munich. And we were in Munich 3.5 years. And, so, it's I don't know, one of those two places. Okay, anybody else?
Did you ever learn to speak any of the other languages?
We took German lessons in Munich, and our teacher told us we were the dumbest class she ever had. We did not, we knew how to say, where is Flughafen? Where's the air-
Flughafen.
That's the airport. We never went to the airport. Yeah, we didn't learn too much. I did take cooking classes in Okinawa, Chinese cooking classes. I still have my recipe book from the time I took those lessons.
Why are you making us, whatever food you made us last night, can you make us Chinese food?
I used to make it all the time. I used to make hot and sour chicken, and it tastes just like the Chinese.
I never had any.
Yes,
Wait,
you
what's this?
did.
He never fixed Chinese food for me.
Next time
Not
you come
once
down, you should make
that I
us
know
Chinese
of.
food.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I want to show you the cookbook. Right here.
We're talking about ancient history right here, not. Otis.
Well, in Okinawa,
What's this so I can make myself?
and
Oh,
look here, see? Even got the emblem. This was it. cook at this class. And look, see, I fix that. I've got things, see? So this is from the 60s. That's from the 60s. That's the book we got when we took that class.
And you think you made that stuff when I was growing up?
Well, you weren't in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
But no,
right.
no, I
think
used
so.
to make it. I used to make it at the store.
Mm.
You just don't remember it. And you only wanted pizza rolls anyway. That was his thing, pizza rolls.
And they're still pretty good.
See, you see my notes? I even made those things you slap in the skillet. What are they called?
Tortillas.
Oh, not tortillas. We're talking Chinese. Oh, pot stickers.
Stickers.
Stickers. Oh, okay. Anyway, I even made those one day. But I can still make the hot and sour soup. Not soup, sauce like that. Because it's in that book. So if you got a question.
No.
Otis has a question.
Do you have a question, Otis? Ever's had a question.
Select that for us.
You want a question?
That's not a question.
Can we request?
Ask us if we've enjoyed life.
I did
Yes, we
enjoy it.
have. Tremendously.
Now, it would take another whole 3 hours to tell you